Justin Bieber has once again stirred speculation and debate with a single, subtle move on social media, and this time, it's about something far deeper than music or fashion. In a short video clip he posted to his Instagram stories, the 31-year-old pop star shared a moment from an old episode of Iyanla, Fix My Life, featuring the late rapper DMX in a raw, emotional exchange with host Iyanla Vanzant. The video, which many fans saw as cryptic, powerful, and deeply personal, showcased DMX responding to a question about sobriety. "No weed, no drinking, nothing?" Iyanla asked, prompting DMX's blunt and defiant reply, "Why would I?" followed by his justification that he's exactly where I need to be with God. Justin offered no further comment, no caption, no explanation, just the clip, reposted from a California-based dispensary account named Gassy. But the context surrounding that post and Bieber's own history has turned what might seem like a minor story into a major moment of reflection, both for the artist and for his fans. This brief clip instantly opened up waves of interpretation. Was Justin trying to communicate something about his current mindset? Was it a subtle way of saying he, too, rejects the notion of needing to be sober to be spiritually aligned? Or was it simply a repost that resonated with him for reasons we'll never fully understand? These questions hang in the air unanswered, especially considering Bieber's complicated history with drugs, faith, and the media. The fact that the repost came from a weed dispensary, a company that clearly supports recreational marijuana, only added more intrigue to the message. It wasn't just a quote from DMX, it was a quote tied to the broader cultural normalization of weed, especially in places like California where it is completely legal. But legality doesn't remove the stigma or the concern, especially when it comes to celebrities who have battled serious drug issues in the past. It's no secret that Justin Bieber has lived through some of the darkest chapters a young star can endure. From explosive fame as a teenager, to public meltdowns, DUI arrests, and admissions of heavy drug use, he has been incredibly open about the damage his past habits have done to his physical, mental, and emotional health. In 2020, he spoke candidly about abusing drugs like Xanax, ecstasy, and even doing pretty heavy stuff that nearly killed him. He described a period in his life where he would wake up and immediately begin using, to the point that his bodyguards had to check his pulse at night to make sure he was still alive. Since then, Bieber has tried to project a more stabilized image, a devoted husband to Hailey Bieber, a father to their newborn son Jack Blues Bieber, and a man committed to healing through his Christian faith. But that very transformation is what makes this latest post so provocative. Sharing a video that questions the value of sobriety without any disclaimer or clarity strikes a strange chord given the way Bieber has positioned himself in recent years. Has he backtracked on his commitment to sobriety? Is this an artistic expression of inner conflict? Or is it simply a way to relate to someone like DMX, a fellow artist who, despite his struggles, felt spiritually at peace with his choices? These are the kinds of questions swirling in fan circles online, particularly among those who have watched Justin's journey with concern and hope. Complicating the narrative further is Bieber's long-standing connection to Christianity, especially his spiritual guidance under Pastor Judah Smith of Chuck Home. His faith journey has been a key theme in both his personal life and his music. He's frequently referenced God in interviews, lyrics, and Instagram posts. His wedding to Hailey was deeply infused with spiritual symbolism. And many of his recent projects, including the surprise release of his latest album Swag, feature overt religious overtones. So when someone so publicly devoted to his faith shares a clip of DMX defending his own drug use as compatible with spirituality, it inevitably raises eyebrows. The clip seems to challenge traditional Christian ideals about purity, discipline, and abstaining from substances that alter the mind or body. For some, it's a liberating message. For others, it's deeply troubling. Critics were quick to point out that Bieber's platform is massive. And with great influence comes great responsibility. When someone of his stature reposts a message that seems to endorse substance use, particularly from a weed dispensary account, it risks glamorizing or normalizing behavior that could be harmful, especially to his younger fans. Even though marijuana is legal in California. And even though Bieber has every right to express himself, the symbolism is hard to ignore. This isn't a random private citizen, this is a global pop icon who has previously struggled with addiction and who is now a father, role model, and religious figure to many. Still, others defended the post, arguing that Bieber has matured enough to share content that reflects complicated truths rather than clear moral answers. Maybe he wasn't endorsing drug use, maybe he was expressing empathy for those who feel spiritually grounded even while using substances. After all, Bieber has always gravitated toward brokenness, toward people on the margins, toward messages that aren't black and white. His faith, while firm, has also appeared flexible, more about grace and understanding than rigid rules. To some, this post was a reflection of that grace. To others, it was a red flag. Of course, the post came just days after Bieber's team once again had to shut down rumors that he was using hard drugs. In February, TMZ reported growing concern about his health, prompting a representative to issue a strong denial. The recurring narrative that Justin is using hard drugs is absolutely not true, the rep said, adding that Bieber was in one of the best places in his life, actively raising his newborn son and working on new music. The rep also revealed that Bieber had spent the past year distancing himself from toxic relationships, ending several close friendships and business partnerships that no longer served him, a move that many saw as a sign of healthy boundaries and personal growth. So in that context, the Instagram repost feels strangely out of sync with the narrative Bieber's camp is trying to maintain. And then there's the question of image. With the July 11th release of his surprise album Swag, Bieber had seemingly shifted into a new era, a rebrand focused on introspection, therapy, fatherhood, and artistic evolution. The album features interludes with comedian Drewski, where the two engage in mock therapy sessions that blend humor with real emotional weight. It was seen as a bold, creative step, one that balanced the pressures of fame with a more grounded, self-aware tone. But now, this DMX clip throws a new layer of ambiguity onto that image. Is Bieber still at peace? Or is he wrestling with demons again, using art and cryptic messaging to speak the truths he's not ready to say outright? Meanwhile, tour rumors are heating up. There's talk that Bieber may be heading to Australia following the success of Swag, although nothing has been confirmed. Frontier Touring told Rolling Stone they had no official details. And Bieber himself hasn't addressed the speculation. Still, fans are hopeful that a global tour could signal full recovery, not just physically, but emotionally and creatively. After canceling his Justice World Tour in 2022 due to health issues, including his Ramsay-Hunt syndrome diagnosis, any return to stage life would be monumental. It would suggest stability, strength, and resilience. But the Instagram story shared this week casts a shadow over that hope. It hints that maybe things aren't as resolved as they seem. One thing is certain, Justin Bieber remains an artist full of contradictions. He is at once deeply spiritual and highly rebellious, vulnerable and guarded, fatherly and forever youthful. His story is a constant tug-of-war between the boy he was and the man he's becoming. The DMX clip may have been a small gesture. But in the world of celebrity, nothing is ever just a small gesture. Every post, every caption, every song lyric becomes a piece of a much larger puzzle, a puzzle fans are always trying to solve. Whether Bieber intended this post as a personal confession, a tribute, or simply a moment of resonance, it has reignited old questions and opened new ones. Is he okay? Is he still healing? Is he slipping back into old patterns? Or is he just being honest in a way that most public figures never dare to be? Only time will tell. But for now, the conversation continues, and like so much of Bieber's life, it's happening in full view of the world. His fans, his critics, and even his casual observers will all be watching to see what he does next. Because when Justin Bieber speaks, even silently, even in reposts, the world listens.